nationwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, the man accused of the Larkin Street murder was brought back to Maine to face charges over the weekend.
We'll have the latest coming up, plus the University of New England held a mock mass casualty incident to make sure their students were staying prepared.
And the Alzheimer's Walk turned the River Walk purple on Saturday, raising over $65,000 for charity. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have all the day's news coming up in just a few moments, but first a check of the forecast, and it's looking like pretty nice weather to kick off the work week around here.
Yeah.
Nothing like compared to what they're dealing with down south.
I know, that was destructive and awful. There's GoFundMe set up for all sorts of folks. It's like over 90 people have died from that.
It's just horrible. I've been watching the videos over the weekend. We'll have more on Hurricane Helene and the aftermath coming up. But first, let's check on our forecast. Go ahead and roll it.
Our first weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. All right, folks, happy Monday, beginning of the work week, right? Temperatures back in the 40s and 50s in some spots. We're looking at 51 degrees here in town. Right up north, Greenville's at 54. Millinocket area, not too far off, only back in those mid to upper 40s, so a little bit more of a cooler start. But overall, though, just a few passing clouds here and there. We're going to continue to see an abundant amount of sunshine out there later on this afternoon. Same story into the day on Tuesday. So, folks, get ready and get those shades prepared. Lots of sunshine is in store for us. Now, visibility-wise, though, not bad here in town. Right out the coast, Bar Harbor, not bad. But then you go just west, Waterville area, Augusta, and even into Rockland. We're looking at low visibilities, close to zero in some spots. Of course, the winds are very calm. We are looking at mainly Rockland, maybe into the Greenville area where just a 5-6 mile per hour breeze is in the area. Other than that, pretty calm all over the state. For today, though, we're looking at lots of sunshine, mild temperatures. Look at this, mid 70s outside, just a light breeze once again. Out of the north. For tonight, though, a light breeze once again, clear skies, areas of patchy fog. Temperatures right around those mid to upper 40s, so we'll be a little bit cooler than today. Now for tomorrow, though, we're looking at upper 60s, lots of sunshine in the area once again, so slightly cooler. Our hour-by-hour forecast does show that warm up on the way for today, with temperatures back in those mid 70s and lots of sunshine.
Thank you, Conrad. A man accused of murdering a woman in Bangor was returned to Maine over the weekend. 42-year-old Richard Thorpe is accused of killing his former girlfriend last week in Bangor before fleeing to Massachusetts. He's expected to make his first court appearance this week to face murder charges. David Ledford has more.
39-year-old Virginia Cookson was found dead inside of a Larkin Street residence in Bangor on Wednesday. As a result of an investigation, authorities issued an arrest warrant for Cookson's ex-boyfriend, 42-year-old Richard Keith Thorpe of Bangor, in connection with her murder. Thorpe was arrested early Friday morning in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, by the local police department following a vehicle pursuit.
They got called to an accident, and apparently the car that he was driving was there. Then they got a call for a stolen vehicle, found the vehicle, there was a chase, and they ended up taking him into custody. They didn't know who he was at the time or why he was there. Neither the victim nor the suspect have ties to that area.
According to Department of Corrections records, Thorpe has a criminal history, including a sentence for robbery in 2012. Police say Thorpe has waived extradition and will be returned to Bangor as soon as possible, and the Attorney General's office plans to charge him with depraved indifference murder.
Autopsy results from the medical examiner's office determining her death as a homicide.
The exact cause of death has not been released. However, police say no firearms were involved.
He's a convicted felon, so he wouldn't be allowed to possess a firearm. But there were no firearms involved in this case.
Bangor police confirmed they were also called to the Larkin Street residence over a week ago, but would not provide further details. In a Facebook post, a relative of Cookson wrote in part, quote, "She worked so hard to provide a good life for her daughter and herself. She was still so young with so much life left in her. It's not fair." A GoFundMe page has been set up to support Cookson's family, and a link to that page can be found on our website. In Bangor, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, state police are investigating a homicide in Biddeford after a man was found shot Friday night. According to a spokesperson from the Maine State Police, it was just before 11 p.m. The Biddeford Police Department received a call for shots fired on Foss Street. Police say first responders arrived to find an injured male who was later identified as 46-year-old Gene Dares of Biddeford. Dares was pronounced dead at the scene and later transported to the office of the medical examiner in Augusta, where it was determined that he died from gunshot wounds. The incident was ruled a homicide, though police say there is no known specific threat to the public. No other information is being released at this time, as the incident remains under investigation.
A Unity man accused of threatening someone with a gun has been indicted by the Waldo County Grand Jury. In August, Maine State Police got a call from a man claiming he had been approached and threatened by a man with a gun at Unity Raceway. The person was identified as 30-year-old Joshua Littlefield. Troopers went to Littlefield's home along with a tactical team and a crisis negotiation team. Littlefield was taken to the hospital for evaluation. The grand jury indicted him on charges of criminal threatening and terrorizing with a dangerous weapon.
One person is dead following a tractor-trailer rollover crash in West Forks. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office says it responded to a single-vehicle tractor-trailer crash on Route 201 just after 3 on Friday. An initial investigation revealed a fully loaded tractor-trailer hauling tree-length logs was heading southbound near the Pierce Road intersection when it went off the road and struck several trees. The driver of the vehicle, 60-year-old Leland Moore of Madison, was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities say Moore was reportedly not wearing his seatbelt at the time. The cause of the crash is under investigation.
As the one-year mark of the Lewiston mass shooting approaches, the University of New England is helping the community become even more prepared should an event like that ever happen again. Saturday, the university held a mock mass casualty incident. Over 80 students signed up to participate in the simulation, and the chief of surgery from Central Maine Health attended and spoke about the lessons learned from last October.
Our goal is to have our students aware of the resources available to them and how to address these types of instances where patients outnumber resources and how to consider the needs of each scenario.
It can also include a single vehicle rollover when you have an ambulance with 4 patients and you are in rural Maine and only one ambulance within 30 minutes away. That counts as a mass casualty incident because you only have 2 providers that can trying to take care of 4 patients.
Last month, Governor Mills responded to the Lewiston Commission's final report, calling the tragedy a colossal failure of human judgment.
Well, help is on the way for the communities left devastated by Hurricane Helene. Central Maine Power says it's among the companies sending crews south to assist with the restoration effort. It's sending 50 people to Virginia after the storm left millions without power. They'll join 53 other crews from CMP's parent company, which are also traveling south from New England. The Red Cross is also sending about a dozen volunteers from Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont to join the army of Red Cross workers taking part in that massive relief response. The storm is already blamed for killing dozens of people and wiping out entire communities. We'll have much more on the aftermath and what's being done to help the storm victims a little later on in the broadcast. Just devastating.
Absolutely devastating to working class communities, no less.
A lot of those communities are cut off too. All the roadways heading out in and out of those mountains in Virginia, for example, they're going to be there for a while.
I know. Rescuers are still trying to reach people. All right, the time now is 6:09. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the 3rd annual Recovery Palooza took place over the weekend, celebrating sobriety and people who are in recovery.
We'll have the story coming up, but first another check of that weather forecast. Nice weather around here to start the work week. Mostly sunny today with highs near 73 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear. You might see some fog out there too. Lows dropping down to the upper 40s. Tomorrow, another sunny one on the way with highs near 69. We'll be right back.
The apple harvest is on at Truergy Family Orchards. Now is the time to make fall memories. Experience agriculture on a Maine family farm. Open 6 days a week.
Colburn Shoe, your mid-coast destination for quality footwear such as Skechers, Hoka, Blundstone, Dansko, Merrill, and many more. Let us pair your feet with the perfect footwear. Colburn Shoe Store, 79 Main Street, Belfast.
This morning, Luke Bryan is here at GMA, hanging with us live.
We cannot wait.
And then, Luke's gonna perform live too.
Are you ready for that?
It's Luke This Morning, only on
Good Morning America.
This is the People's Court.
What will you do with binoculars looking into her yard? That's creepy as hell.
It's rough, it's tough, and we just can't get enough.
You're both total liars.
Real litigants, real cases, real drama. The People's Court.
On ABC 7.
Welcome back, everyone. Hundreds of community members gathered at Broadway Park over the weekend to take part in the 6th annual St. Joe's Commit to Community fundraiser and run. Organizers say this was one of their most successful years yet. Our Grace Blanchard takes us to the finish line to learn more.
Nearly 700 Mainers signed up for this year's Commit to Community 5 and 10K run, organized by St. Joseph Healthcare.
This is a small community, this is a small state, and events like this really make you feel like you're part of something wonderful.
Previously known as St. Joe's Commit to Get Fit, the race supports the hospital's Sexual Assault Forensic Examiner program, also known as the SAFE program, which provides support to victims of violence and abuse.
These are amazing nurses. They provide care for people who are victims of rape. They provide care for people who've just been harmed in some other way, and they're there 24/7 for the community.
Community advocates say the specialized training and support the SAFE program provides is a vital resource for survivors of abuse.
They really are, leaders in the state in the work that they do, so we're so glad to be in the same community and work with them.
The event raised over $200,000, which is around a $40,000 increase from last year.
It warms my heart to see how much people want to support this hospital. We're a community hospital, so really we depend on the community, and you guys really turned out for it today.
To learn more about resources for survivors and how to support the cause, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Hundreds got together in Bangor on Saturday to celebrate recovery from substance use disorder. Our Callie Warren takes us to the 3rd annual Recovery Palooza.
It's really great to see the recovery community coming together.
Hundreds of Mainers joined in on the 3rd annual Recovery Palooza on Saturday. The event helps uplift and support those with substance use disorder, whether they're in active use or in recovery, and connect them with resources for harm reduction and recovery assistance.
People want to gather here, enjoy a nice free meal, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy each other's company, meet new associations, and just be connected in solidarity.
Community leaders say investing in recovery initiatives is important.
I think that our region has done a really great job. All the partners have done an amazing job having a recovery-ready community.
Bangor, our city council has been very much investing in recovery over the last year. We've spent over $3 million providing grants to actually many of the organizations we see behind us here today.
Organizers say the event helps to stop stigma and spread awareness around drug use.
Showing and demonstrating what the resources are, people can see what's available to them. But it also does a lot to overcome stigma.
According to the Maine Drug Data Hub, around 8.5% of Mainers over the age of 12 have substance use disorder. Data from earlier this year shows there have been almost 5,000 non-fatal overdoses this year and 302 fatal overdoses. However, overdose deaths dropped 16% in 2023 compared to 2022.
Folks in recovery are just like you. They're your neighbors, your sons, brothers, uncles, fathers, people who serve you your coffee.
In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
It was a busy weekend. Meanwhile, the Bangor waterfront was a sea of purple Saturday as hundreds took part in the Walk to End Alzheimer's, raising over $65,000. The walk raises money for care and research for those affected by Alzheimer's and other dementias. Statistics from the Alzheimer's Association's Maine chapter shows that 10% of Maine seniors have Alzheimer's disease.
This means everything. We are raising awareness every single day with every dollar raised. So this means hope to me.
Well, around 300 people participated in the walk, including people living with Alzheimer's, their loved ones, and with those who were walking in honor of someone who had passed away.
My mom had Alzheimer's. I just lost her in July. It really can affect anyone at any time. Just do what you can.
And if you missed the walk, but you would still like to donate to the Alzheimer's Association, you can visit our website for more information.
Thousands flocked to the banks of the Penobscot River in Old Town also on Saturday for a day of family fun. Now in its 28th year, the Old Town Riverfest hosted activities, vendors, and plenty of food. Saturday's events included a car show, craft vendors, and several local nonprofit organizations. Organizers say it's a great way to bring people together in Old Town.
A lot of excitement, a lot of things for people to do, a lot of food, a lot of places for you to donate your money.
Everybody comes home for Riverfest, so
Yes.
it is absolutely our biggest celebration of the year.
To see more events coming up in Old Town, you can visit our website, foxbangor.com. I had some friends who went and said it was a great time. It was a busy weekend in our community.
Yeah. I've been to Riverfest a few times. It's always a good time up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right, the time now is 6:16. After the break, Hurricane Helene hammered the southeast over the weekend, leaving death and destruction in its wake. We'll take you there as Good Morning Maine continues.
Our country is counting on Bath Iron Works. 6,500 men and women building the most advanced naval ships in the world right here in Maine. So when extremist politicians threaten our jobs, I have to speak out. Ontario supported shutting down the government. We could have lost the Navy contract that keeps Bath Iron Works running. Ontario put his extreme agenda ahead of our jobs.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this ad.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor and the potential to take you anywhere. Current qualified lessees can get this 2024 Silverado for around $389 a month. Or current Chevy owners can get $6,500 total value when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
As temperatures drop, fall colors emerge. Reds, yellows, and of course, Kubota Orange. Forget the greens and make your neighbors orange with envy with a new Kubota tractor from Doors Equipment in Bangor. Get your work done right with Kubota and Doors. From home to farm, from landscaping to construction, the Doors are open to value, quality, and top-notch service. This fall, make them orange with envy at Doors Equipment, Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
At least 90 people have been killed after Hurricane Helene slammed into the southeast. The governor of North Carolina calls the crisis in his state an unprecedented tragedy.
ABC's Perry Russum is in Washington with the latest.
This morning, rescue teams in North Carolina searching for the missing.
People are desperate for help, and we are pushing to get it to them.
41 people rescued in one mission north of Asheville.
We also rescued an infant, and were able to take that infant directly to the hospital for care.
In parts of the city, the flood water has yet to recede. Where it has, washed out roads and mud remains. There is no cell service.
The men came out to our neighborhood. They said we're not going to have electricity for another 2 to 3 days.
In Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee surveying the damage from a helicopter over the weekend, finding homes and buildings washed away. Yesterday in Perry, Florida, one of the first cities hit by Helene, they are praying for relief. President Biden says his FEMA advisors are on the ground in Florida.
Any more resources the federal government could be giving them?
No, we have pre-planned a significant amount of it, even though they didn't ask for it yet.
The White House says President Biden intends to travel to the hurricane zone this week when it does not interfere with recovery efforts. Biden has approved federal resources to help the states with those efforts. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Just incredible. I've been watching storms for many years. I haven't seen anything like some of the stuff we're seeing coming out of like North Carolina area. This storm touched as far south as the Florida Keys, all the way up through the Virginia area. It's going to take weeks, probably months and months to restore electricity and get everybody back to where they were.
I don't think anybody anticipated it being able to be that bad in Appalachia.
Yeah, no, just horrible.
Yeah. All right, the time now is 6:20.
Let's get a look at our local weather forecast.
Our main weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. All right, folks, it's Monday. Let's go set those goals for the week. And guess what? Of course, go out there and achieve it. Now, temperature-wise, though, a little bit of blue going on the last several days. Temperatures were slightly cooler than average, but the last 3 days, whoop, right back up into the above average territory, where our average is right around 65 degrees, and we're going to continue that warmer trend today into the day tomorrow. Once again, a little bit cooler, maybe a few degrees below average on Wednesday, right back up into near 70, maybe even low 70s in some spots on Friday. By the weekend, those look like slightly cooler temperatures will be back in our area, low to mid 60s, that will be closer to average. Now look at this. This is what's left over from that Hurricane Helene, still producing a little bit of rainfall closer to Washington, D.C., of course, post-tropical. We're not looking at anything severe, just some leftover showers in some spots. But of course, that cleanup continues all over the regions down south. Florida, of course, had that Category 4 hurricane that hit Thursday evening. Now, for our area, though, not much going on. Just a couple of passing clouds here and there. New York City, you're looking at a little bit more thicker clouds in your area. And, of course, maybe even a few sprinkles into Jersey and some spots in Pennsylvania. Now, for our area, speaking of sprinkles, we're probably going to get a few sprinkles out there for Wednesday time frame. But overall, though, as you can see, that little drier pocket there, it does look like a few sprinkles are, of course, possible. Otherwise, though, we're not looking at any big rain events anytime soon, at least the next 5 days. And of course, those dew points will be low as well. Pretty comfortable. Right in time, maybe Friday, Saturday, we are looking at higher dew points, but overall, those still sticking around. Not too much on that muggy end, still going to be a bit more comfortable. Now for today, though, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. Temperatures well above average, around 10 degrees above average, around 74 degrees out there for today. For tonight, though, mid to upper 40s, clear skies. Yes, we are looking at patchy fog once again in the forecast, just a light breeze. Now for tomorrow, though, upper 60s, lots of sunshine in the area once again, just a light breeze in the forecast. Now our extended forecast outlook does show a little bit of a cooler day out there for Wednesday. A few sprinkles are possible, warming back up into those upper 60s to lower 70s Thursday and Friday.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
If you've been injured in an accident, get Maine's most recognized personal injury law firm working for you today. The law offices of Joe Bornstein, fighting and winning for injured Mainers for nearly 50 years. Selected best lawyers in America for personal injury, recognized for professional excellence. With more than $500 million collected for injured Mainers and over 25,000 victories for Maine families. Call Joe for a free case evaluation and get the Bornstein Advantage.
When Angus got elected, he said he wanted to stand up for Maine's veterans. He wanted to give back to those that served, and I believe he's done that time and time again, year after year. From healthcare access to burn pit exposure, as well as housing, he's helped veterans every step of the way. I can't think of a better person to go back to Washington, D.C. and fight for us. And I can't be more proud to support this fine gentleman. I'm Travis Mills.
And I'm Angus King, and I'm proud to approve this message.
Backed by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday Brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. The U.S. and its allies seek to avoid an all-out war in the Middle East as Israeli airstrikes on Sunday killed dozens in Lebanon and in Yemen. Iran condemns the latest strike. The Israeli leaders hint that they could hit Iran as well. Over the weekend, new airstrikes into Yemen at the Houthi-controlled port of Hodeidah. Israeli jets also struck a power plant at the town of Ras Isa. This after 2 days in which Israel was the target of ballistic missiles fired from Yemen, which were intercepted. And early this morning in Lebanon, the first apparent Israeli airstrike on central Beirut in nearly a year of conflict, leveled an apartment building. The IDF says 20 Hezbollah operatives were killed alongside leader Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon. All of this while combat continues in the Gaza Strip. Yesterday, President Biden said he would call Benjamin Netanyahu to prevent an all-out war.
36 days to go to Election Day. Both candidates are hitting the battleground states to get out the vote, while their running mates prepare for their first and only debate. Both candidates' running mates are gearing up for the vice presidential debate Tuesday night in New York. Historically, the VP debate doesn't do much to change the minds of voters, and it may be in the interest of both men to simply avoid any major gaffes. An AP poll released last week shows Tim Walz is viewed more positively by voters than J.D. Vance. Republicans say Vance just needs to stick to the issues. Right now, there are no more debates scheduled between Trump and Harris, with just weeks to go to Election Day.
Well, thinking about some European designer duds or sporting or outdoor equipment for Christmas gifts, you may need to get your gears in motion fast if a shipping strike happens. Retail industry watchers say if an East Coast dock worker strike does happen, some Christmas discretionary items like luxury gifts and recreational goods could be affected and become in short supply. The disruptions in shipping and supply chains may also drive up retail prices. Many retailers already have contingency plans, but a long strike could prevent minimizing effects. Retail goods price hikes could also hit in the first quarter of 2025 if the strike happens.
Country music icon and Golden Globe winner Kris Kristofferson dies at the age of 88 on Saturday. The star was surrounded by his family, but no cause of death has been given. He was known for his songs as Why Me and Bobby McGee, as well as playing acting roles in Blade and Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, directed by Martin Scorsese. A Texas native, Kristofferson, said he owed his love of music to early influences of Mexican and country music. 1 month before his passing, he listed his Northern California ranch on the market for $17.2 million.
One of the greats out there. He wrote a lot of songs people don't even realize he wrote them.
Right.
You know, but I love the stuff he did with like Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and all those too.
Right,
Just, yeah.
That's iconic stuff.
Yeah.
All right, right after the break, we'll have our Marketplace Monday segment, kind of one of our favorites here.
All right, don't go away.
Join us every Friday this season as we celebrate the return to the gridiron with the most highlights, reactions, and analysis of your favorite teams. Catch Sports Blitz Friday at 11 on ABC 7. Sports Blitz is brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares. And by Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, where you'll find furniture that's in stock and ready for delivery.
Whether you have a $15,000 fender bender or a surgery case worth $1 million, call the Twos.
Thankfully, my accident wasn't too serious, but I called the Twos, and Lowry & Associates still got me over $21,000.
My wife needed neck surgery after a bad accident. We called the Twos, and Lowry & Associates got her $1 million.
Big cases and small, we handle them all. Call us. We win for you.
Call 222-2222.
The past few years have been challenging for law enforcement, but one thing we've never had to worry about is whether Jared Golden will watch our backs in Washington. Jared isn't afraid to stand up to his own party to keep Mainers safe, voting for billions of dollars for state and local law enforcement and to secure the border. Austin Terrio is something else. He voted against millions of dollars for the state police because the budget came from the other party. We need leaders who put public safety first, and that's Jared Golden.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Monday, September 30th, 2024, the last day of September.
And today is National Podcast Day. A marriage between the words iPod and broadcasting, the word podcast was born. And while the use of the iPod is much more rare now, the namesake of the media is here to stay. You can listen to hundreds of thousands of podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and much more. And there's really something for everyone.
You like to listen to a lot of podcasts, don't you?
I listen to a podcast every morning.
Yeah.
I get a 5-minute news update, and then I listen to like my spooky stories or self-help podcasts or, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, some of them, they were specific topics too, so if you're into certain things, you can find something for everything out there.
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on now to history on this day in history. Back in 1954, the USS Nautilus, the world's first nuclear-powered vessel, was commissioned by the U.S. Navy. In 1955, American actor James Dean, who became a symbol of the confused, restless, and idealistic youth of the 1950s, died in an automobile crash. In 1960, The Flintstones, one of the best cartoons ever, the first animated sitcom created by Hanna-Barbera, premiered on ABC.
I didn't know that was their first show, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
In 1962, JFK sent 3,000 federal troops to the University of Mississippi to quell riots protesting desegregation. And in 2004, the first images of a live giant squid in its natural habitat were taken 600 miles south of Tokyo. Look at that. You can't tell that it's a giant squid, but it's still pretty scary.
Yeah, I think I remember that when that happened too.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
the concept of giant squid, those actually existing, I don't want to think about that.
I don't ever want to run into one.
Well, with your luck, now you will.
Probably, yeah.
And in 2018, the New York Yankees suffered a 10-2 beating at the Boston Red Sox, but still accumulated an MLB record of 267 home runs for the season. And in 2019, a 315 billion ton iceberg, 350 billion tons.
Just a little one, huh?
It broke away from the Emery ice shelf in Antarctica.
All right, that's very concerning indeed.
Yeah.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Monica Bellucci, who is 60 years old, one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
What is she in?
If you ask me.
I don't know.
I don't know. She's been in a ton of things.
Oh. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, that's right. Okay.
Oh.
We're getting
the stitches. Oh, okay. Okay.
There you go.
Our director Sarah is telling us behind the scenes. Yeah. Okay, I just saw Beetlejuice.
Yeah, she's been in a bunch of things over the years. I can't name anything. She just.
But most recently, and okay.
And Beetlejuice.
Cool.
Yeah. Also, we have Trey Anastasio as Anastasio. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I know who he is. Yeah. He's from the band Fish. He is 60 years old today. Saw him perform in Bangor the summer before last.
Cool.
And Barry Williams, who played Greg Brady on the Brady Bunch. Okay, folks, this is going to make you feel a little old. He is 70 years old today.
Oh.
So happy birthday to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, all these people are around 60, 70.
Next round numbers.
Yeah.
60, 60, 70.
So.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. Yeah. All right, moving on. It's a beautiful day. What a nice start to the week.
It's going to be gorgeous the next few days, so get out and enjoy.
In for a treat. Here's Conrad Zapinski with that forecast.
Our first weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. All right, folks, happy Monday, beginning of the work week, right? Temperatures back in the 40s and 50s in some spots. We're looking at 51 degrees here in town. Right up north, Greenville's at 54. Millinocket area, not too far off, only back in those mid to upper 40s, so a little bit more of a cooler start. But overall, though, just a few passing clouds here and there. We're going to continue to see an abundant amount of sunshine out there later on this afternoon. Same story into the day on Tuesday. So, folks, get ready and get those shades prepared. Lots of sunshine is in store for us. Now, visibility-wise, though, not bad here in town. Right out the coast, Bar Harbor, not bad. But then you go just west, Waterville area, Augusta, and even into Rockland. We're looking at low visibilities, close to zero in some spots. Of course, the winds are very calm. We are looking at mainly Rockland, maybe into the Greenville area where just a 5-6 mile per hour breeze is in the area. Other than that, pretty calm all over the state. For today, though, we're looking at lots of sunshine, mild temperatures. Look at this, mid 70s outside, just a light breeze once again. Out of the north. For tonight, though, a light breeze once again, clear skies, areas of patchy fog. Temperatures right around those mid to upper 40s, so we'll be a little bit cooler than today. Now for tomorrow, though, we're looking at upper 60s, lots of sunshine in the area once again, so slightly cooler. Our hour-by-hour forecast does show that warm up on the way for today, with temperatures back in those mid 70s and lots of sunshine.
All right, jumping right into Market Watch this morning. We have some fresh finds. I put some of them in this morning, so I think I've seen a couple of them already.
We'll look forward to that.
So what's the first one? Oh, no.
I saw this on Facebook.
I haven't seen this one. 3D printed Demon Baby Halloween costume accessory kit. So maybe this is for if you already have a baby bump and you want to you want to scare some people. Wow, very creative Halloween costume. $20 in Norge Walk.
Maybe some dude could wear it too. Put it under, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
be kind of funny.
Gender neutral.
Got a demon baby in my belly. All right, moving on.
That's a creative Halloween costume.
That is cool.
I like it.
Moving on to the next thing now. What is this? A wonderful hot air balloon gondola basket.
Wow. But not with the balloon.
No, you need
just the basket.
Get your own balloon basket for the
so
basket.
It's legit.
Yeah.
It's $475. Wow, wasn't there just the hot air balloon fest in Lewiston? I think we just missed that.
Yeah, I think there was one.
Fascinating.
Yeah, you can have your own hot air balloon, Emma.
I don't think I want to go in one. That seems really, no thank you.
I'd like to go with somebody that knows what they're doing. I think it'd be fun.
Seems like a way to get lit on fire.
Moving on to the next one now. This is what you think when you're looking at Marketplace too. It's like, what am I going to do with that? And now I'll probably kill myself with that.
Right.
Maybe not.
Actually, though, this is cool, though. I love these old TVs.
Yeah.
I wonder if it works. But people will oftentimes do crafts with these. I've seen people make side tables and just kind of hollow it out. But that is beautiful.
That's neat. It's
Look at that retro television.
It's like a work of art.
Yeah, right? People design TVs now after that type of thing.
I like those old phonographs, too, that are part of a big entertainment system.
Yeah.
They have a turntable, a radio, everything included in one thing. So pretty neat. $100 down on South Berwick. You can own this piece of broadcasting history.
That would make a good Christmas present.
Yeah. All right, I think we've got one more for this hour. What the heck is that?
Oh, no. That's scary.
Oh, it's pottery. Okay.
Oh, it's a sculpture?
Yeah, you could put a plant in it or something.
Okay.
I wasn't sure at first.
Okay, so it's like a face in a tree. Is there a closer photo? Oh,
I don't know.
I need a closer photo. Okay, so it's a handmade sculpture. This is a beautiful thing if you want to get a gift for somebody that's completely unique. This is a work of art.
Huh?
Yeah. Very different. It's very spooky.
It's the face pot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
What kind of plant would you put in that?
I don't know. It depends on if it doesn't look like there's drainage underneath. There's not a hole for drainage.
Yeah.
So I kind of only like to put plants in pots that you can drain because it causes root rot. That looks like it's something different.
Yeah.
I don't know what you'd put in that.
Kind of cool though.
For collectors of oddities, I am one of them.
Yeah.
But people love all sorts of oddities, and that's it's art, original art.
If you buy that pot, I'll drill a hole in the bottom for you.
I'd be nervous that you break it.
I probably would break it too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd use a special masonry bit.
Okay.
Get it all planned out.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah. Or you could ask them, too. It's Facebook Marketplace. You can do all sorts of bartering.
That's true.
I love
True.
that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Bunch of stuff. We'll have more stuff next hour.
Yeah. I bought a TV over the weekend for $50.
Oh, that is a steal. On Facebook Marketplace?
I love Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates.
Don't go away.
I'm a Republican.
I'm a Republican.
A Maine Republican.
Not one of those Washington Republicans like Mike Johnson.
They want to slash Social Security and Medicare.
And raise the retirement age to 70.
They handpicked Austin Theriault to run for Congress.
And they'll control him in Washington.
But Jared Golden works for us.
Jared will stand up to both parties to protect Maine seniors.
We can trust Jared. He fights for us.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
The loss of a loved one is a really difficult time. Finding a welcoming environment where you can tell your story to people who care and understand can be hard. This is Cynthia Wieland from Bragdon Kelly Funeral Homes, and I'm offering our grief support group again. This group begins October 8 at 215 Main Street, Ellsworth, and it offers you the opportunity to sit with others who are also experiencing grief. The group and the materials are free to participants. These groups have proven to be very effective in helping others on their journey to feeling better. You can feel better too. Our group is open to the public, but seats are limited, so call to make your reservation. You are not alone in your grief. Call me directly at 207-479-6167 or visit bragdonkelly.com for more information. Bragdon Kelly Funeral Homes. Let our family serve yours.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Every day of your life.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Busy weekend for sports. We'll start on the football field, kicking it off with the Patriots out west trying to take down the San Francisco 49ers. Pats down 6-0 in the first. Jacoby Brissett dropping back to pass, looking over the middle, and Fred Warner leaps up and makes the interception. He's untouched too, so he gets up and gets moving, gets to the sideline, and he won't be denied all the way into the end zone for the pick six. Niners lead 13-0. Same score next drive. Brock Purdy looking end zone, and look at this catch from George Kittle. I don't know if the Patriots could have any more guys on him there. 20-0 San Fran. Some life for New England, though, right out of the half. Special teams, baby. They force a fumble and on that kick return, and that is going to give them great field position. Little scrum for the ball here, but the referees say Patriots possession. So on the goal line, Brissett fakes the handoff to Ramondre Stevenson and finds Austin Hooper. And the Pats convert on the San Fran mistake. It's 20-10 now, but it's the only touchdown they would score. And the Niners go on to win big, 30-13. Staying on the gridiron now, and maybe some positive news here. The Maine Black Bears on the road this weekend, taking on the 21st ranked Albany Great Danes, looking for their second straight victory. Second quarter, Maine down 7-3. Carter Peavy takes the snap, gives to Jahari Martin, and he slides in for the touchdown to put Maine up by 3. To the third quarter now, Maine down 1. Peavy fakes the give to Martin, rolls out, and hits a wide open Cooper Heisey, the tight end, for the touchdown. Maine takes the lead again. The 2-point was no good. We move to the fourth quarter. Peavy again fakes the give to Martin, again rolls out, and he gets Heisey again, puts Maine up 25-14. Here they are going for 2 again this time, and check this play out. Remember this one, Montego Moss gets it, he spins here and heaves it to the back of the end zone, and that one is caught by Joe Gillette. Maine up 2 scores, 27-20, or 27-14, 27-20 now. Albany one last chance. Look at Jamari Gibson picking off the long pass, and grab your inhaler. He is chugging his way down the sideline. He goes all the way. A pick six with under 2 minutes to play seals it. Maine wins 34-20. All right, let's go back to that Montego Moss throw on the 2-point conversion. I don't know if anyone saw this on ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown on Sunday morning, but it was the best thing I've seen all day. A real cool exchange between Mike Greenberg and Randy Moss, Montego's father, and I'll preface it with this. The apple doesn't typically fall too far from the tree.
And last night, something very special happened. So let's take you back in time. Here we go. So, who remembers this play? Randy Moss on the reverse. Throwing a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my teammate, Dwayne.
Randy, what are we seeing right here?
Man, shout out to the Maine Black Bears, man. That's my son, Montego Moss, man. Same reverse the spin on the defensive end. No! Man, I want to send another shout out, man, to the Maine Black Bears, man. Going on the road against the University of Albany, man. It's a great win yesterday, but right there, Greeny. That's the same thing.
It's an awesome moment right there. Let's stay with the University of Maine now. Maine women's soccer in action. They are a few states over, taking on the University of Vermont in Catamount country. Picking it up halfway through the first, Vermont has it. Kate Bossert finds Aubrey Bowe. She fires this one from way downtown and scores top shelf. That puts UVM up 1-0 in the first half. Beginning of the second, Cats on a corner. This is going to go off of a Maine player and in, and that puts Vermont up 2-0 with just about 30 minutes remaining. But here's where Maine came roaring back. Just a minute later, Tegan Morrison gives to Julie Losius, and she is in great position after that ball, fires and cuts the lead in half. 7 minutes left now. Morrison off the corner. That finds Christina Kelly, who fires, and Maine is alive. They tie it with time winding down with about 7 minutes left. Here we go now, under 3 minutes. Vermont's goalie trying to get it out, but she doesn't see Jordan Panette, who pulls off the highway robbery and scores the game winner. Maine puts in 3 unanswered in the second half for a 3-2 victory. All right, and finally, if you looked at the record and the playoff standings, you probably thought there's no need to tune in to the Red Sox season finale on Sunday afternoon, but Red Sox Nation bid farewell to a legend in their 3-1 win over the Rays. The Red Sox and the city of Boston naming the day Joe Castiglione Day in honor of the 42-year Red Sox Hall of Fame radio broadcaster who called his last game at Fenway Park on Sunday afternoon. Castiglione has been with the team since 1983. He's called 4 World Series titles, some of the best moments of my life as a Red Sox fan, and after the game compared the feeling of calling his final out to calling the 2004 World Series.
So I was sort of numb. Sort of felt like the 9th inning in St. Louis in 2004, like in a zone and no distractions. And then he kept fouling off pitch after pitch when we were hoping it would end. But I had some moments, especially when Alex brought the players out in the 7th inning, and when I saw these players come back, so many from long distances, dating back to my first Red Sox team in 1983.
For me and probably many Sox fans, when I hear Joe's voice, I go back to summer days as a kid playing wiffle ball or whatever in the backyard while my dad had the game going on the radio on the back porch. Just an incredible career and a ton of memories for a ton of people, including myself. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after this.
When you're ready to tackle your next building project, depend on the knowledge and experience of Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center will turn your ideas into accurate conceptual drawings, and 3D visualization is available. Your Hammond sales rep will prepare a materials list and cost estimate. And when you buy all of your materials from them, Hammond will refund all of your design fees. Hammond can deliver your order from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner since 1953.
Washington politicians allowing lobstermen to struggle, not just with higher inflation or with more regulations. They're allowing Canada to lobster in our waters, decimating our lobster population, stealing natural resources from our next generation.
Washington lets Canada steal from our lobstermen. They played politics while Mainers paid the price. It's time we put people over politics. I'll hold Canada accountable and fight to protect our way of life. I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Now, more than ever, all U.S. veterans need your help. If you have an old car, truck, or van, you can donate it today and help them. And they'll come pick it up for free. Plus, the money raised helps our nation's disabled veterans and their families. Call the number on your screen right now. Within a few days, we'll come and tow it away for free, running or not. And the proceeds greatly help U.S. veterans. So please call right now.
A family in Palermo is on a mission to raise awareness for autism and spread inclusion ahead of Halloween.
Our Doug Banks spoke with a woman spearheading these efforts and tells her and her family's story.
Halloween is a pretty big deal for us.
The colors orange and black are intertwined with Halloween, but Marissa Holland is hoping to add a new one. Last year, Holland created Project Big Blue Pumpkin. Her mission is to raise awareness of autism, one blue pumpkin and one blue bucket at a time.
I feel like if more people knew and understood and supported and showed their support, a lot more families would be excited to go out for Halloween.
Holland's two boys, Carson and Hudson, are both diagnosed with autism.
I get a lot of hey, kids, say trick or treat for your candy, and my kids don't speak. So people kind of look at us okay, why is your kid not having manners? Why is your kid not telling me, trick or treat or saying thank you?
She says having the blue buckets in trick-or-treaters' hands and placing blue pumpkins outside the front door could help bring a sense of inclusion into the Halloween spirit.
Sometimes they may be nonverbal, and that may help them with communicating with the people at their house.
There just might be kids out and about that have different needs, and that may act a little different than your traditional kid. And they're out having the time of their lives. And, it's not a night to judge. It's not a night to wonder why the kid's not saying thank you. Just let them participate and have fun and let them do it.
To learn more about Project Big Blue Pumpkin, visit foxbangor.com. Reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News, I'm Doug Banks.
All right, now here's meteorologist Conrad Sapinski with our full weather forecast.
Our main weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. All right, folks, it's Monday. Let's go set those goals for the week. And guess what? Of course, go out there and achieve it. Now, temperature-wise, though, a little bit of blue going on the last several days. Temperatures were slightly cooler than average, but the last 3 days, whoop, right back up into the above average territory, where our average is right around 65 degrees, and we're going to continue that warmer trend today into the day tomorrow. Once again, a little bit cooler, maybe a few degrees below average on Wednesday, right back up into near 70, maybe even low 70s in some spots on Friday. By the weekend, does look like slightly cooler temperatures will be back in our area, low to mid 60s, that will be closer to average. Now look at this. This is what's left over from that Hurricane Helene, still producing a little bit of rainfall closer to Washington, D.C., of course, post-tropical. We're not looking at anything severe, just some leftover showers in some spots. But, of course, that cleanup continues all over the regions down south. Florida, of course, had that Category 4 hurricane that hit Thursday evening. Now, for our area, though, not much going on. Just a couple of passing clouds here and there. New York City, you're looking at a little bit more thicker clouds in your area. And, of course, maybe even a few sprinkles into Jersey and some spots in Pennsylvania. Now, for our area, speaking of sprinkles, we're probably going to get a few sprinkles out there for Wednesday time frame. But overall, though, as you can see, that little drier pocket there, it does look like a few sprinkles are, of course, possible. Otherwise, though, we're not looking at any big rain events anytime soon, at least the next 5 days. And of course, those dew points will be low as well. Pretty comfortable. Right in time, maybe Friday, Saturday, we are looking at higher dew points, but overall, those still sticking around. Not too much on that muggy end. Still going to be a bit more comfortable. Now, for today, though, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. Temperatures well above average, around 10 degrees above average, around 74 degrees out there for today. For tonight, though, mid to upper 40s, clear skies. Yes, we are looking at patchy fog once again in the forecast, just a light breeze. Now for tomorrow, though, upper 60s, lots of sunshine in the area once again, just a light breeze in the forecast. Now our extended forecast outlook does show a little bit of a cooler day out there for Wednesday. A few sprinkles are possible, warming back up into those upper 60s to lower 70s Thursday and Friday.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor and the potential to take you anywhere.
Current qualified lessees can get this 2024 Silverado for around $389 a month. Or current Chevy owners can get $6,500 total value when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
The past few years have been challenging for law enforcement, but one thing we've never had to worry about is whether Jared Golden will watch our backs in Washington. Jared isn't afraid to stand up to his own party to keep Mainers safe, voting for billions of dollars for state and local law enforcement and to secure the border. Austin Terrio is something else. He voted against millions of dollars for the state police because the budget came from the other party. We need leaders who put public safety first, and that's Jared Golden.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
After an accident, the insurance company often wants to rush you into accepting their fair offer. Don't sign away your rights.
I didn't trust the insurance company.
They were wanting to settle fast and cheap. How much is your case worth? It's probably worth more than you've been told. I called Joe.
I found out what my case was really worth.
Say yes to maximum compensation, to everything you deserve. Call the firm that has been getting justice for Mainers for 50 years.
Tell them you mean business.
Goose River Farm and Meat Store is conveniently located on Route 3 across from Hammond Lumber in Belfast. They have a wide selection of meat and poultry, including beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, rabbit, and turkey. Open Tuesday through Saturday.
Tuesday night, with just weeks to go until Election Day, watch the vice presidential debate live on ABC. The night starts with the ABC News special, The Race for the White House, with David Muir and the ABC News political team. Tuesday night on ABC.
100 lucky Prince fans can party like it's 1999 at Airbnb's newest Purple Rain themed rental. Airbnb's Purple Rain house, located in the singer's hometown of Minneapolis, is now available for 25 total one-night stays. The house is decked out with authentic pieces from Prince's own collection, as well as purple velvet wallpaper and a vintage 80s stereo. The price to rent the iconic rock and roll house is only $7 per person, a nod to Prince's favorite number. The themed rental is hosted by two of the singer's lifelong friends and musical collaborators, and comes during the 40th anniversary of the film Purple Rain.
40 years.
Wow.
Hard to believe.
That looks beautiful on the
kinda
inside,
neat.
too.
Yeah.
Very special.
My sister would have loved that. She's a big Prince fan.
Yeah, I know. He's a big star.
Yeah. All right, well, could the humble oyster help the construction industry reduce its carbon footprint by replacing the limestone and concrete with crushed shells? Oystercrete is a bio-alternative material to traditional concrete using discarded oyster shells that are collected and then turned into composite biomaterial. The creator was inspired to use the shells after coming across a busy oyster restaurant in London that throws thousands of shells away every day. Her early products were small interior design objects, but says she wants to eventually scale up the production to create practical, large-scale oystercrete building materials.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Kinda neat, yeah.
That's something that we could really put to use here in Maine, too.
I imagine we could use our oyster shells and clam shells around here to do that.
Right.
They have a big problem trying to get rid of those sometimes.
They're just discarded. It's trash, even though it's like a natural material.
Yeah.
Might as well recycle them. I love it.
Good idea.
All right, looks like we're running out of time. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com. Good Morning America is next on ABC 7, and we'll start a renewed hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, and we hope you have a great day.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Take an epic quest to Dragonfire Pizza in Ellsworth. Try the King Dragon Pizza, Dragonfire hot wings, meatball and mozzarella, steak and cheese, or pulled pork, calzones, stromboli, and an assortment of salads. End your quest here at Dragonfire Pizza in Ellsworth.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Join us every Friday this season as we celebrate the return to the gridiron with the most highlights, reactions, and analysis of your favorite teams. Catch Sports Blitz Friday at 11 on ABC 7. Sports Blitz is brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares. And by Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, where you will find furniture that's in stock and ready for delivery.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Maine's largest network of parts just got a little bigger. Coastal Auto Parts, newest location in Bangor, has all your automotive needs to get you to the moments that matter most. Whether you're a professional mechanic or just need a little help, find everything you need all under one roof. Our knowledgeable staff is here to assist you with friendly service and expert advice right here at 200 Sylvan Road, just off I-95. Drive in, stock up, and hit the road with confidence. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. The devastating impact in the...
To the Rockmount Post and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the man accused of the Larkin Street murder in Bangor was brought back to Maine to face charges over the weekend.
Plus, the University of New England held a mock mass casualty incident to make sure their students were staying prepared.
And the Alzheimer's Walk turned the River Walk purple in Bangor, raising over $65,000 for charity.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and much more coming up, including the latest on Hurricane Helene. The aftermath just devastating for several states down to our south. We'll hear what's being done to help all those folks down there.
Yeah, absolutely wiped out multiple towns.
Yeah. First, a check of our forecast, though. It's looking like nice sunny weather to start the work week.
Yeah, we're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Here's Conrad Sippin.